Good morning and welcome to the new edition of Dr. Lamba's Awakening Call. Yesterday, Government of India took an action and I find that partly what I had suggested in my live comments on Saturday was apparently listened to and included. For the first time, a historical wrong was set right. There are a number of implications, but you have to understand A, the need, B, the requirement, and C, the national interest and the international implications. There has been a lot of noise about Article 370 and people have been saying that this article cannot be abrogated, which I have always been saying, that this is one article which is not essentially a part of the Constitution. The Constitution is inviolable, but that part which differentiates between different states is an anachronism, is an anomaly. And this was the paradox. As a matter of fact, a historical wrong has been set right. People also say that the accession of Kashmir was because of Article 370. Again, that is wrong. Maharaja Hari Singh signed the instruments of accession in 1947. And this Article 370 was incorporated in 1949. How can an act which took place 2 years prior to Article 370 be vitiated because of the removal of this article? Well, let's look at the historical. When the Republic of India was reorganized in 1953, Jammu and Kashmir was left untouched. Even if I don't include Chitral, Gilgit and Baltistan, it was unrelated linguistic groups and ethnic groups. 1953, the organization of India took place on the basis of language. Punjab, Haryana, Gujarat, Maharashtra, Andhra, all were made because of that. But the language of Kashmir Valley and Jammu is different. Language of Ladakh is different. So this was an anomaly. Chitral and Gilgit and Baltistan, I'm not talking about at present. And this arrangement of Jammu and Kashmir is a relic of 19th century. In 1819, Jammu and Kashmir became a part of Khalsa Darbar. That is, Maharaja Ranjit Singh's army had captured it. Until that, for 500 years, before 1890, Duranis were ruling Kashmir. Duranis are a tribe of Afghanistan. They had captured Kashmir. But even then, at that time, when Kashmir was a part of, was being ruled by Afghanistan, Duranis, Ladakh was independent. So Ladakh was an independent state allied to Lhasa in Tibet. It was a part of Tibet, and in 1834, General Zorawar Singh of Maharaja Ranjit Singh captured it and made it a part of Khalsa Darbar. And then for administrative purposes, because at that time, the linguistics and ethnics were not important, the territories were merged in Jammu and Kashmir for administrative reasons. And then, Gulab Singh purchased Jammu and Kashmir from the British after the Punjab was annexed by the British for 75 lakhs. And it was a property purchased by Gulab Singh. It was a personal property, but then they captured it, the Ladakh portion, by the Dogras of Jammu. So this continued till 21st century. And as a matter of fact, the very fact was the reason for all the disturbance. Now what happened? 3 families in Jammu and Kashmir started looting. All the money that was spent by the government of India was not used for the infrastructure. It was not used for the education. And as a matter of fact, government of India was giving lavish money to this province, which should not have been done, but it was there. Now, as a matter of fact, this bifurcation would clear the plug that has choked the subcontinent. Kashmir is the focus of anybody's attention. But one thing good about this is that Jammu has not been separated from Kashmir, thereby making 2 states exclusive to the 2 groups, 2 religions, which was never desirable. And the 2-nation theory, if they had separated Jammu from Kashmir, would have been there. Now, what happens? Let's be very clear. When Article 370 goes, the biggest harm of this was, that Article 370 prohibited the use of Article 360 and Article 356. Both these are very vital parts of the Constitution. Now, here is one part of the Constitution that was prohibiting the use of the other article. Article 360 is the financial emergency. So the government of India had no right to declare financial emergency in Jammu and Kashmir till now, because Article 370 banned it. I'm not bothered about having the separate flag or the dual citizenship. But then the fact that in this age, the government is prohibited from imposing financial emergency strikes at the very root of a nation. And that is bad. And secondly, there was no reservation for the minorities. Now, this was the only, excuse me, please. This was the only state where there was no reservation. Secondly, this article prohibited the application of RTI to Jammu and Kashmir. The right to have information, which is a basic norm in any democratic setup, was not given to the citizens living in Jammu and Kashmir. So all this anachronism has been removed. Now imagine, Jammu and Kashmir has been, as I said, treated as a personal property of the 4 families. The finest chief minister that Jammu and Kashmir had was Farooq Abdullah, who was careful about husbanding the Kashmir issue, the Kashmir people, who were interested in promoting tourism, who was interested in and enabled cottage industry and the small scale industry to be set up. There's no denying the fact. But the other chief ministers were inept, inefficient, and dishonest. Mufti in the first term was very efficient, but none of them took any effort to ensure that fundamentalism was not breeding. They did not bother about that. And as a matter of fact, they are winking at it, are turning a blind eye to it, enabled radical Islamist attitude to spread. Because the fourth chief minister did not take any action at all. And can you believe it? 17 years of peace were there, and they were result of the armed forces in neutralizing the terror campaign by Pakistan. And politicians were only concerned with their homes at Gupkar Road, basically, and the liberal Jews of the helicopters. Billions of rupees were sent, but infrastructure, education, and health was simply not there. Now, what happens is that this is the first part. At one time, Goa was a union territory, so was Goa, Daman, Diu. That enabled them to blossom forth and become prosperous. And that's what should happen. As long as the government of India is dedicated to ensure that as a union territory, they shall progress economically, this will be very good. A government run from the New Delhi has a clear focus now on law and order, quality governance, and economic development. And if the government of India has no idea to reboot the politics, then it would be a bad thing. Otherwise, the union territory would enable it to be rebooted socially, economically, and politically. And after, say, 10 to 15 years, the situation can be reassessed and the union territory status converted into a full-fledged state house. Now, one thing very good has happened is that the union territory status to Ladakh on the lines of Chandigarh, where an administrator would look after it. This is again an excellent action, because till now they have not bothered about Ladakh. And look at the political setup which has existed till now. You hear about Abdullah, you hear about Mufti, you hear about loans. Has a single politician from Jammu region come up? No. Look at the economic development. Jammu is possibly the only city in the Jammu region which was developed. Doda, Bhadarwai, Chirsai, Poonch. They are all absolutely undeveloped areas. Why? And then, it's not going to happen like an Aladdin's lamp. Things would not happen overnight. The billions of dollars that the government of India has been spending would continue to go there. And unfortunately, this is a disparity. The taxes are paid by all over the citizens of India. And those monies, a lot of them, a large share, a chunk of them goes to Jammu and Kashmir. Is that really not bad? And then, what's going to happen is now, with the removal of the residence clause or the ban on the purchase of property, quite possible the land prices in Jammu and Kashmir will rise and the people will be able to sell those land, get a lot of money. Look at the prosperity in Punjab is because of the sale of land and commercialization. And now the commercialization would take place there. And then Ladakh is the happiest because they have been, after a long time, away from the yoke of the Kashmir politicians. As a matter of fact, Zorawar Singh, when he took over Ladakh from Lhasa, from Tibet, had he made it an independent unit and had Maharaja Ranjit Singh asked him to make an independent unit, that things might have been different, but it's not so. But now the Ladakhis are divided. Now, 170-year-old drama has become to an end. What East India Company did by selling Jammu and Kashmir to Dogras, that personal fiefdom came to an end directly, but now indirectly also that impact is not there. There is going to be opposition. There is going to be international ruckus. There is going to be vehement condemnation. But there was condemnation in 1971 as well, when Nixon had sent the 7th Fleet in Bay of Bengal. Luckily, we have no dirty dick sitting in Washington, D.C. today. It's a very sensible and very open president whom people deride. I know it. But I can personally tell you that he is much more pro-India than any US administration has ever been. So on the whole, this section, which is part of what I had recommended on Saturday, is great. Now the government of India should take the second step. Ask for the return of Chitral, Gilgit, Baltistan, most important, these three, and then POK, Pakistan Occupied Kashmir. This would pave the way for consolidation and also for setting wrongs done right. Kashmir issue has been a festering sore. Drastic diseases need drastic remedies. Surgery was required, and this surgical operation is a welcome sign of decisiveness. One can always disagree with the fine points, but the reality is, it is a day which hopefully after a few years, 5, 10 years, people would say it is the beginning of a new age, a new era. Hope for the best for the Kashmiris and for the Indians and for the world, because Kashmir has been the most dangerous place in the world. Let's not forget it. Palestine and Kashmir, these were the two places which were, as I said on Saturday, tinder boxes ready to be engulfed in flames. We are possibly today militarizing Jammu and Kashmir to protect the territorial integrity. Hopefully that will be a thing of the past, and Kashmir, Jammu would be an integral, inseparable part and have their identity as the provinces of the states of India, of the great family. Let's hope for the best. Thank you.